I thought it was supposed to be the dark night, not the rainy night.
Hello guys, welcome back to another video, and today I'm going to be doing a video I've wanted to do for a long time. I am finally going to rank the Dark Knight trilogy. Now, I am really excited to do this ranking because I've wanted to do it for so long. And I've only just recently watched the Dark Knight trilogy, and now, after watching it, I just am so desperate to do it. I've wanted to do it for ages, but I've just never got around to watching the films. And now I've finally watched them, I have fallen in love with them, and I have to do this ranking. Now, the rain is very heavy, so if you can hear that, just try and ignore it. I swear, every time I say that, it's just getting heavier and heavier. But yeah, so I'm gonna go full in depth on each film, as there's only 3 and it's only a little trilogy. And these are quite long films, so there's a lot to talk about. So I'm gonna, go full in depth on each one. And yeah, so let's get started with number 3. So for number 3, I'm gonna go with The Dark. So in third place, also known as last place, is Batman Begins. Now, I like this film. This is not a bad film, and I know a lot of people might even be surprised with my opinion, but I just think this film doesn't live up to The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises. It doesn't, it's not as good in the way. But this is still a good film. I still enjoy this film. It still knows what it wants to be, and it does that. It wants to be an origin story about Batman, and that's what Christopher Nolan does. He nails that. That's what he does. But the way it's told, I am not the biggest fan of. Now, I love, Bruce Wayne's character arc in this. I love how he turns from this angry person into this superhero, how he changes, and all the twists and turns inside, and all that stuff is just so fun. But first of all, I want to talk about the villain Scarecrow. Now, I'm not actually the biggest fan on this Scarecrow. I just felt like it wasn't really, I don't know, he wasn't really a well-written character in my opinion. I don't think he was the right choice as the villain for this. Now, yeah, things like he's in The Dark Knight, I believe that was him. Yeah, it was him. And like things like that. But he just was not the character I thought he'd be. Now, when I first saw he was going to be in it, I was really excited, but he just was not the character I thought he was going to be, and I was disappointed by that. And also, you spend about 45 minutes with Batman in the cave thing. I can't remember what it's called. And yeah, that's part of the origin story, and it keeps flicking back to when his parents were killed and what he did after that and that. And I prefer those scenes to the actual him training and that. I don't know why. It's just some of those scenes I found quite boring. Now, that might just be me. That might just be me not liking that. But I still enjoyed some bits of it. It's just some of it I didn't really, it didn't hit the right notes for me. And I thought the scenes where they would, going on about how, Bruce Wayne's parents died, I thought that was really well done, how they were flicking back. And they weren't short little 5-minute things. They were actually a bit longer than that. And I enjoyed that because that, it was telling 2 stories at once, basically. And normally when something tries to do that, it does not do that. It just fails and can't do that. Now, let's talk about the good, because the good stuff outnumber the bad stuff in this. First of all, I love how once Batman is Batman, he's in the city and doing all that. It goes at quite a nice pace, and you see quite a lot of Batman, and that's what we want in a Batman film. We want to see Batman. And they have a nice load of bits, there's a load of car chase scenes and fights and the final battle and all that. It's just they did that so well, and I almost wish that like some of the stuff in this film was in the other films. Now, if some of this stuff was in there, I think the one in second place might even get first place, because a lot of the stuff in this film is good, and I love like how Batman meets Commissioner Gordon and all that stuff. And then obviously in Dark Knight you think he's dead and that, and I think how they did Commissioner Gordon, they didn't treat him like a big character, but you cared about him somehow. They made you care about him, you really care about the character, even though he doesn't play the biggest role, and he has some funny little jokes here and there. And then we get to see Christopher Nolan's first time doing a Batman final battle, and the final battle gets you excited. You're excited to see what happens, and you know, with Liam Neeson's character turned into the bad guy, and you know, the monorail chase scene and all that, it just works so well because there's so many things that need to be answered, and they all get answered, all the things in the final battle. And you have like certain characters doing their part to help, and then you've got Batman fighting Liam Neeson's character. It just all comes together and does such a good job of doing a Batman film. So, in second place is The Dark Knight Rises. Now, I went into this film thinking it was going to be okay. I'd heard some things that it was not that great, but this film amazed me. I love this film. This film knows what it's doing, and I understand why some people don't like it, because you don't see a lot of Batman, and obviously, like I said, I'm a person who goes to a Batman film to see Batman. And, you know, he has been retired for 7 years, and then he's Batman again, and then he breaks his back, and then he has to turn into Batman again. And I like how he goes back to the... Bane takes him back to the place in the first film, the cave place. I can't remember what it's called. And how you see, you know, how Bane was there, and, you know, the origin of all that. And seeing Batman get back on his feet after breaking his back and, you know, failing to be a hero for Gotham City. And you don't see that many fight scenes in this film. And you see, you know, the car chase and that, but the action is just not that big. For a film that's almost 3 hours, you don't get much action. But then when you get to the... like the final battle, it makes up for all of that, because the final battle has got all these heroes, all these characters that you've seen from the other films all come together and, you know, defend Gotham City. And also you see Catwoman turn into a good guy, which was also quite a nice thing to have in there. And then there's the Batman sacrifice. Now, to this day, I don't actually know if he survived or not. I think he did. It's kind of obvious that he did, but there's just some other things that don't make sense if he did or not. So I'm believing that he did, but I may be wrong. I don't know. And I like how the first part of the film doesn't really, you know, it goes back to how, you know, it shows a lot of Bruce Wayne and a lot of things with like Alfred and Catwoman and that. Just putting Batman aside, it does that and it works. I mean, this is a Batman film, and that chunk doesn't have Batman, but it doesn't need it, because it makes up for all of that at the end of the film. And I enjoy this film with everything it has. It has, you know, some action. Obviously, it makes up at the end. It has, like, dramatic scenes and a great villain. I love Tom Hardy playing Bane. I think he did a really good job, and I just think how Bane, he was so well written. It literally amazes me so much, because he was just, compare him to Scarecrow, he was just a good villain. Like, how he managed to, you know, hold the city hostage and, you know, get rid of Batman, which is like something that, you know, a villain hasn't been able to do in this trilogy, really. And also, you know, if you think about like another superhero film, a lot of villains haven't been able to do that. So he was quite a successful villain for what he was trying to do. And talking about how some of this stuff compares, like how it follows on from the Dark Knight. Everyone thinking Batman's a bad guy and that. They don't really go into that much. I mean, there's a little bit here and there, but there's not that much in there. But I feel like that's okay. It's still a good film, and it doesn't, make the film bad or anything. And also, comparing it to The Dark Knight, it's not as good, because I think it's some parts they didn't know what they were doing, and I think the script was a little bit off. I don't think they really knew what they were doing with it, and there were a lot of problems, small problems. Even though it's a really good film, there were just small problems that do make it a bit frustrating to watch, and there were just some scenes in it that don't really add up in a way for me. That might have just, I might have just lost, something. I might not have just got something that was going on, but overall it was a really good film, and I really, really did enjoy it. So obviously, in first place has to be The Dark Knight. Now, I had heard that this film was amazing. I'd heard it was like maybe even the best superhero film ever. And I went into this film thinking, I'm going to love it. It's going to be a really good film. And that is what happened. I just fell in love with this film. The moment the Warner Brothers logo came on, it was just so well done. It starts off with like a bank robbery, and I think that was one of the best scenes of the film, really. It was just a good action scene. And I think Heath Ledger as Joker was amazing. I really enjoyed seeing him as the Joker. I think he's 100%, I don't even think it, I know 100% he's the best Joker. He does the best job as Joker because he knows what he's doing. And everyone thought he was not going to do a great job. He would not really do a great job, and he nailed it. It's just, I don't know how, he just did such a good job. And Christopher Nolan knew what he was doing in this film. He knew what he needed to do. He knew what was needed. Because with Batman Begins, he was just testing out almost, seeing what he could do with the Batman character. And he knows what he needs to do. He knows that this is an amazing film. He knew from the beginning, I think, because it's true. This film is a masterpiece. I love this film. I love this film to death. I could watch it right now, like get it on the TV, because I will watch it. I will watch it over and over again because it is so fun. Every time you watch it, there's something new, there's something fun for you to notice or see, or something that you didn't notice before, because there's just so much packed in this film. And it's got, some dark scenes, it's got action, it's got romance, would you say? Okay, yeah, whatever. It's got humour, I guess. Yeah, I might just stop doing this because it's not really going the way I thought it would. Yeah. But anyways, it's still a really good film. And I don't actually think there's anything bad about this film. It never gets boring. It never, feels like it's being a bit dragged along, like it's just getting a bit boring, because they'll spend a long time on a certain scene and it's just so interesting to sit and watch. You're interested, your eyes are hooked, you're on the edge of your seat, you're like this, I'm getting really excited doing this because I just love this film so much. And I am really excited to see the Batman, but I don't even know if the Batman will be as good as this. It almost makes me think that it won't be good compared to this one, but let's save that for another video. I've got a video planned for that at some point. And I love how the film, it's a really well written film, and I liked how Two-Face was in it. I did not expect Two-Face to be in this. I didn't really know. And Joker is this dark and scary character that you are hooked to because he's such a well written character, and Heath Ledger brings the character to life in such a good way. He's just an amazing character. He knows, you know, what he needs to play and how, you know, the character is, what he does, and some of the lines you get from Joker is amazing. And, you know, the action is spot on. You get so much action in this. And the final battle is just really, really good. Seeing how Batman, you know, there's this serial killer out in Gotham City and Batman needs to sort it out, and by the end of this film he knows what he needs to do. He knows how to defeat Joker, because at the beginning of this film he doesn't really know how to deal with this, and by the end of this film he knows what he needs to do. And also with thinking Commissioner Gordon's died, because this is quite a long film that they can spend ages, almost sort of, you know, like it will just pass your mind because so much is happening, and then he comes back and you're like, oh my god, like, you know, it's just such a long film packed with so much action, fun, and it's just a really, really good film. And if you haven't seen this film, I 100% recommend watching it right now. So that's going to wrap up this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please do comment, like and subscribe, and comment down below your ranking or other videos you'd like me to do in the future, because I'm going to start doing more rankings and reviews. I'm going to be watching Luca and Godzilla vs Kong this weekend, so the review for them will be up sometime this week, and I'll be ranking the MonsterVerse you know, films at some point. And also I will be doing another Pixar tier list updated with Luca, and I also might do a Pixar ranking as well. But yeah, that's all for today, guys, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.